Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk about the code that you have to implement in order to generate these embeddings and connect your names.py file to TensorBoard. So there's actually this turns out to be very simple to do. This will probably be the easiest coding assignment that you've had in this class. So here I've just added this embed line to these control options. So now we have a new option of what to do with our code. And I'm going to go down to the very end of the file. Here is the section where I'm checking to see if we're using if the embed flag has been passed in. And so I'm printing out just a bunch of information up here. And remember that the embeddings were all stored in this fc_class variable. And this is actually true for all of the models that we've created in this class. They all have this fc_class variable inside of them. And so we can generate embeddings not just for the BERT model, but we could do it for all of our, say, character-based models for part 1 of the project, or we could even do it for the names that we were doing before when we were trying to predict nationalities, that those models had this layer as well. And so we could have an embedding for Russian names versus Chinese names versus English names. But here I'm just printing out the shapes of these tensors. Again, that's just useful debug information. And then, so the linear model has this is a matrix right here, the weight matrix, and then there's a bias vector. This is 768 dimensions, this has 1 dimension, and I'm just concatenating them together to get that 769 dimensional vector, which is our embedding of each of the host names. Then in this spot right here, I'm creating the summary writer object, and this is how you connect to TensorBoard. We've already been using the summary writer object for in the training when we were logging to TensorBoard. We were doing that with summary writer, so you've already have the right imports in your names.py file. And then this add embedding line is all you need to do. Writer.addEmbedding. Mat is the actual embeddings. Mat stands for matrix. These are the embedding matrix. Metadata are the class labels. Those are the things that appear when you hover over the data points or click on the data points. So I made the labels be the actual categories, and then a tag is just what the name that you want to call the embedding. And that's all that you have to do for this assignment. I've also created some embeddings for the data points. We saw those visualized as well. So this is embedding the data points instead of just the classes. And so this code is a little bit longer, but this code is just code that you've already implemented in the training loop, that it's a for loop going through a certain number of times depending on how many data points that you want. So it'll be, in this case, 100 times the batch size would be the total number of data points that we'd be visualizing. And then it just gets random training sample, and gets the, this is the embeddings of our particular training sample right here. We're, in this case, ignoring the nextChares embedding and only using the output class embedding. And then I'm calling the add embedding on the summary writer just with these embeddings that we generated right here. I'm doing it a couple of different times just to experiment with different data sizes, and it turned out that 10,000 was too computationally expensive. It caused my computer to go to a halt. And then these ones, just there wasn't as much interesting information inside of it. So the visualization that I showed you was using 1,000 data points, which seemed like a good trade-off between computation time and actually having enough information in there to be reasonably interesting. So it would be nice if I could have shown you in tensorboard.dev these embeddings so that you could actually experiment with them and play with the embeddings that I had. But tensorboard.dev does not support that projection tab. It only supports the scalars tab. And so you'll have to actually generate these yourself, and you can't use the ones that I generated for you, sorry. So the coding is super simple. It's just sort of these two lines are all the lines that you actually need. And so this is the last video again of the class. I feel sad to say goodbye to all of you, and but I will still be available in Zoom for this coming week and throughout finals week, and beyond. If you're doing anything interesting with deep learning over the summer, I would love to work with you on that, help you out, provide advice, or just chat about it. So you have a open door to email me and meet with me over the summer or in the future. I would be thrilled to continue working with all of you. I hope to see you all. I hope to see some of you in the fall, and I hope that some of you are graduated and off to bigger and better things. And maybe we will eventually, definitely, we'll see you again when the graduation ceremony, commencement ceremony happens, whenever that finally happens. So I guess, see you all then. Bye.